Alright, exactly what do you think of when you hear creativity? Some people might think of the arts, whether it be drama, music, or visual arts in general. And this would be right. But others might think of poetry, stories, literature. And this in turn would also be right. Now think of education. Most people hear that word and go, great. And this would be normal because we've been taught from a young age that this is the most important, most quintessential thing in our lives. I'm here to tell you that it might not be as important as you think. And by the end of this speech, I hope that I can sway your views on both the ideas of creativity and education with some unconventional ideas of my own. As I said earlier, creativity comes in all sorts of shapes and sizes. And many people would agree that art and literature are some of the mainstream ways that people are creative. But I believe in some more unorthodox kinds of creativity. Something that most people probably wouldn't think is creative, but really is. And that is the art of humor. And I'm not talking about your typical knock knock or why did the chicken cross the road jokes. I'm talking about grade A banter. And people will be surprised, but when you think about it, it's not that strange that this is a form of creativity. Those that tend to joke around a lot are usually people that are street smart and have the ability to think for themselves. This is a life skill that not many people are attuned to. And banter is just one of the ways to train this particular skill. The idea of joking around back and forth in rapid succession, from a stranger's perspective, might seem useless. But until about a year ago, I also saw it as useless, and felt it was just another way to be mean, or to bully. Then I realized that it was entirely the opposite. The idea of banter is not only to have a good time joking around with friends, and all laughs. With it, you try to combine your knowledge of the people around you, making sure you don't cross the line, but say something that is street smart. It is important how you do this, particularly in a way that is intelligent and well suited to the scenario. And to do this, a certain kind of creativity is required. The moment an idea pops into your head, and you transfer that into a joke, is a moment of creativity. Now, I'm just talking about some of the things that I've observed while spending hours after school at Apollo. But I always found it creative being able to think in that kind of way. This is just one way to be street smart. Applying simple solutions to seemingly complex problems is a skill that's completely underrated. Now, speaking of thinking in a certain way, remember how earlier I also said that people think of education in a certain way? The idea of grades in general isn't a very good way to train youngsters. Of course, there's the argument that many people can improve following past failures with grades increasing this way. But I feel the idea of grades places too much stress on students' backs. The way we educate our current generation kills creativity. In the future, when students turn into adults and get jobs, would employers look for a fixed-minded university student that does everything by the book? Or would they look for people who can think out of the box? People that can think innovatively and be able to adapt to their surroundings easily. This is where a combination of both education and creativity is needed. This is why it's important to train and educate students in a stress-free environment. Instead of giving them grades, give them comments. Instead of giving them compliments, tell them how they can improve. Train them to think and react quickly to changes in scenarios. Teach them to think independently and when encountering hardships, to face it head-on with a positive mindset. This way, far more students are able to learn and benefit from education that they can apply directly to their future lives in every sense. In order to do this, there has to be a strong cooperation between both teacher and student. This is what we should work towards. And with time and communication, it pays off in the end. Thank you.